Hello and welcome everybody to the first episode of Goes Bump in the Night. I'm Luis,
I'm Levi.
and today we will be talking about uh, something very creepy. I guess you could consider it an urban legend. It's a very creepy one today. I'm excited. This podcast will be covering spooky stories, occasionally true crime, and anything related to the paranormal.
Whoa, I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of spooky to be honest. I'm
Yeah, I. How do you feel like about paranormal stuff? Do you believe in it or are you?
Do I believe in it? Honestly, I would say when I was growing up, I didn't really believe in anything like that.
Mhm.
Although I did grow up Catholic, so I grew up in a religious household. Going to church every Sunday, going to mass. But I never really believed in anything paranormal, and that probably went into like my teenage years where I loved like hearing stories and all of that, but I was still pretty skeptical of everything. And I would hear stories of UFOs, ghosts, demons, all that stuff, but it wasn't something I necessarily took to heart or believed all the way. I would say that changed pretty recently, when I first started going to college. So there, we could probably save those stories for another time. Maybe tell personal stories or encounters
Yeah, yeah.
in a future episode. But let's just say I have had experiences, um, in my so far in my early 20s, and late teens that really got me to be more open-minded about that kind of stuff. What about you, Levi?
Yeah, so I don't know exactly where I fall like on this cuz on one hand like I am super open to the concept. I will say I would prefer if like something like Bigfoot existed over ghosts because ghosts freak me out. Just like if I watch a horror movie, any paranormal horror movie is going to freak me out way more than like a slasher movie or like a creature feature movie. I don't just because of like I have some stories like from growing up and just actually here recently like we could definitely do an episode talking about personal stuff and I'm just kind of like it's kind of scary so
Yeah.
and I love the concept of something like Bigfoot being real and I will hold out that it could happen but I don't know if I'm 100% believe in it uh, so what are we talking about today? Are you?
Today we will be talking about Skinwalkers
Oh,
and Skinwalker Ranch.
so I've heard of Skinwalkers, but let me just say I don't know shit. Like
Mhm.
I have no idea what the concept. People have tried to talk to me about it, but I don't really know. So I'm try make me believe in these things.
Well, Levi, you're in for a treat. Um, Today's story is really creepy, scary, and it really does make you question a lot of things of, what's potentially out there, and what are some things that humans don't really know about, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Where there are many things and mysteries about the world that we still haven't discovered yet. Anywhere, there are so many creatures and animals that are yet to be discovered throughout the world, especially like places like the Amazon rainforest or in the depths of the sea,
mm-hmm.
Most of the oceans on Earth haven't been fully discovered yet. So it's these kind of things that make you question and really make you think, what else is out there. But yeah, today we'll get into what skinwalkers are and Skinwalker Ranch.
I've
So
just realized, hold on, before we start, that maybe I
yeah.
shouldn't have done this when I'm home alone. I have the blinds drawn and the lights off, and I might turn the light on. Uh, not,
Honestly, I would definitely keep your lights on for this one.
my cat's not gonna like kill me or anything by the end of this, right? I guess I'm not alone. My cat's over there.
I mean, unless your cat is a skinwalker.
Oh God.
Not to scare you or anything.
Okay, I'm ready. I am in my chair. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do this.
So, the origin of the Skinwalker. So, Skinwalker is a Navajo legend about a shape-shifting, demonic creature that preys on humans. The name Skinwalker actually comes from the Navajo word Yi-nal-do-shi, which literally means it goes on all fours. So the Yi-nal-do-shi is one of many varieties of the Skinwalker called Anti-Niji. I definitely butchered that,
Yeah, I
but
probably couldn't have done that any better.
yeah. Many other indigenous tribes have also told stories and had legends of involving skinwalkers. In some legends, it is said that the skinwalker is born from a benevolent medicinal man or priest who abuses indigenous magic for his own selfish and evil purposes. These evil powers give the skinwalker the ability to shapeshift into any animal or person that he desires. Also, in other traditions, it is believed that anyone regardless of gender or age can become a skinwalker if they commit any kind of thing that is considered taboo. So far, it seems like you don't want to mess with a skinwalker or encounter one.
So what you're telling me that my girlfriend could be a skinwalker and I could be killed in my sleep tonight.
Honestly, I think that's definitely a possibility
God
according
damn
to this.
it. I need some cold
Many,
water.
yeah, for real, you need to get those silver bullets. Honestly. No, it is very scary, and it's incredible to see how many different indigenous legends across many indigenous cultures have some sort of concept of a skinwalker or the skinwalker. And so it's interesting to see that all these cultures share it.
Yeah, it makes it like very kind of almost scarier the fact that they kind of all like agree that this thing can exist, which
Yeah,
is
it's crazy. It really does, like you said, Levi, it really does make you um, think about it and question, are these things real or not? And I think, I don't know, just coming from an indigenous tribe or any indigenous culture, I think it makes it more believable because, they were the first ones to inhabit what is now the Americas, and so um, they have been here way longer than anyone else who eventually came to this part of the world. So I don't know. I think there's some merit to that. What's creepy about this, I think, the creepiest part of it is that the Skinwalker can shapeshift into anything it wants. So it can transform into a deer or anything that is seemingly harmless or not menacing. It can even transform or shapeshift into a loved one, or somebody that you know. And so just thinking about that makes it 10 times more creepy because imagine you're just walking, hiking in the forest and you just hear like, your passed away loved one calling your name, you know, or a friend saying, "Hey, like how are you?" and you want to find out and see that person, but it turns out it's just a skinwalker trying to lure you, you know. It just makes it 10 times more creepy.
like I grew up so where my parents live or my dad lives, it's in the middle of the woods essentially. So
Mm,
so that's like the concept of like creatures that live in the woods just terrifies me. Like I was always worried that I'm gonna hear like a knock on my window and then see like Bigfoot like looking in at me or something. Like, oh my god. You know when you're in the woods, like you have like a lot of times you get like these creepy feelings like you are
yes.
being watched.
Yes, I definitely have experienced that. Not even just outside in nature, but in my own home.
Yeah.
You know,
I
when
don't know
there's
if it's
nobody.
just like I don't know if it's just because we're talking about it right now, but like my back is to the rest of my apartment, so like if something sneaks up behind me right now, I'm dead. There's nothing I can do. So if I
Man,
just stop talking, I'm a
just gotta
goner.
pray.
Yeah.
Another fact about the Skinwalker. it is believed that if you even mention its name, then you can summon a Skinwalker.
Well, we're
Which
fucked.
makes it even, yeah, literally makes it 10, even 100 times more worse, because just the mentioning of the word or name Skinwalker can summon a Skinwalker.
Let's call them Walker skins for the rest of the
Walker skins.
the rest of
That's
the
our
episode.
code name for
Walker
them.
skin or um squawk squawkers. No.
Pig Latin. The Pig Latin name for it.
Yeah, okay. I'm not even
So
gonna try that.
yes, that is the origin of the Skinwalker.
So it's just like it's
Very
like based off
creepy.
of.
And the way that Skinwalkers multiply is by attacking a human and not necessarily eating the human, but it is believed that they do like to prey on humans as well as livestock or just other animals as well. But if they do catch a human, many times that person will also become a skinwalker. So it is really similar to vampires, actually, and like other cultures such as vampires and werewolves, where if they do get to somebody and attack somebody, that person will most likely become one as well. So that is another creepy fact about skinwalkers.
No, that's horrifying.
But where does this lead us? It actually leads us to Unitah County, Utah, which is the place of the Skinwalker Ranch. So, a little history of the area um, in this part of Utah. So, during the 1970s, there are many reports of UFOs in the Unitah Basin surrounding the Ute Indian Reservation. There were many claims specifically about the ranch that first appeared in 1996 in the Salt Lake City, Utah Desert News. They told many accounts of cattle mutilations, UFO sightings, and strange wolf-like creatures, as well as strange lights that were reportedly hovering above and about the ranch. So in 1996, a couple named Terry and Gwen Sheeran recently had bought the ranch. Everything seemed normal there until their first encounter with the paranormal. So in that same year, they had been introduced to the legend of the Skinwalker and all these strange occurrences that had happened near and in their ranch. They really did just brush off many of these stories, but we're still open to looking, and looking after their ranch. They first saw UFOs hovering above their property, and soon after that, 7 of their cows either died or disappeared. One was found with a hole in the middle of its left eyeball, and another had its entire rectum carved out. So already, this is completely fucked. They imagine just being a couple who just recently bought this property, right? Looking to live the ranch life. And then these people come up to you and start saying creepy stuff uh about your ranch. I would be scared. I wouldn't have continued being there. I would have sold it immediately after if that was me.
So they've been seeing UFOs, and then cows have been missing, and like getting just killed. Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay. What year did
that's
this take
exactly what it
place?
is.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, so this happened in 1996.
Oh, that's not. Oh,
Uh,
that's not very long ago.
yeah. So there was already so in the early 90s is when this ranch went through several owners. All of them did not last more than 2 years of being there.
See, that is
And
a sign of no good. In every
exactly.
paranormal story you hear, the owners like leave and they don't tell them why. and then people are like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I got a nice home to stay in," and then all of a sudden, then they're just like haunted, and then you get stuff like The Conjuring, and
exactly. This is stuff from paranormal and horror movies. So there were many sightings and stories of these cattle mutilations, UFOs, strange wolf-like creatures, as well as strange lights around and about the ranch. So this is during the early 90s, and still after the first reports in the 1970s of UFOs around just the Unetah Basin in Utah. It wasn't until 1996 that a couple named Terry and Gwen Sheeran decided to buy the ranch and call it their home. They were introduced to the legend of the Skinwalker after the strange occurrences that happened in their new ranch. So they first saw UFOs hovering above their property, and then 7 cows either died or disappeared. One was found with a hole in the middle of its left eye, and another had its entire rectum carved out.
ow.
So not only did they hear all these stories now, but now they're experiencing them. That just makes it 10 times more creepy. I would have left
So
immediately.
now I feel like there's two things that could be happening. Either the skinwalkers are really picky eaters, or the aliens are like there's actual aliens like experimenting on these cattle. Like, let's see what the inside of this thing's
Literally,
eye looks like, or let's see if this works the same as ours. And they like cut
literally.
out.
It's scared. It's scary. I mean, it's just like it's just fucked, bro. So when they did find these cows, the Shermans found that the cows were both surrounded by an odd chemical smell. One was found dead in a clump of trees. The branches above appeared to have been cut off. One of the cows that vanished had left tracks in the snow that suddenly stopped. And according to one of the Shermans, they quote, "If it's snow, it's hard for a 1,200 or 1,400 pound animal to just walk off without leaving tracks or to stop and walk backwards completely and never miss their tracks. It was just gone. It was very bizarre."
That is really weird.
That is very weird. Like, it's almost impossible to just have an animal walk through snow, which obviously will leave tracks, to all of a sudden just have those disappear. I don't know. And you could argue that, you know, it just kept snowing and covered the rest of the tracks or whatever.
But like
But
that's a big old animal. I mean,
yeah,
especially if it's deeper snow, like it'd take a while to cover it, especially if like the other tracks weren't covered. There's something going on there.
there is something very fishy going on
Some
here.
super strong person just picked it up and just walked off with it. But then there would still be tracks. So I what?
Perhaps one of the most terrifying things that Terry Sherman personally experienced on the ranch was while he was walking his dog late one night, and he reportedly heard these voices that were speaking a language he did not recognize. He estimated that they came across from about 25 feet away, but he couldn't see anything. And obviously his dogs were going crazy, started barking, and ran back hastily to the house. So you already
uh,
know when dogs are acting up, you know there's something there.
oh, oh yeah, for sure. That is the most like just thinking about that. Like I'm like getting chills right now.
Literally. So far, what do you think about this ranch? Is this a nice place to live?
No. And I will say I'm trying to figure out where skinwalkers play into this because it just feels like an alien. Now, this last little information feels like it could be that, but like a lot of it, like it feels like an alien abduction. Is that like some kind of connection to skinwalkers, or no? You said it was like an urban legend, right?
The Skinwalker is, like I said before, it's reportedly an actual thing in Navajo and other indigenous cultures. But Skinwalker Ranch is the story behind Skinwalker Ranch and all its occurrences are supposedly real, and the people that lived here know and really do believe they did experience these things. So another time, Harry Sherman was outside. He was out there with his dogs, and from a distance on his ranch, he could see this massive wolf-like creature. He didn't have any knowledge of any wolves or coyotes on his ranch, but he thought, this is probably normal. The closer that the wolf got, the bigger it seemed, and with each step, it looked more menacing and more frightening. This wolf had a solid black coat, and its eyes shined in the night. What amazed Terry was the fearlessness of the wolf. The wolf did not hesitate to get any closer. It just got closer and closer. So Terry was very, very worried for his cattle, but it seemingly did not have any interest in its cattle. It stopped a few feet away from Terry and just stared right back into his eyes. It didn't seem that menacing after all. It just sat there and looked. And out of nowhere, it just grabbed one of the calves and ran away. Terry pulled out his shotgun and fired several rounds, directly hitting the wolf. But the wolf did not even hesitate. It just stood there and looked back. As Terry kept shooting, he realized nothing would hurt the animal, and it just walked away.
So, few things. First off, why would you not start shooting first? Okay, hold on. Let me let
Literally.
this car drive by. I love how the first thing he's worried about is he's like, there's this ginormous wolf thing coming towards me, and I'm worried about my cows. No, no, fuck them. I'd be or first off, like a lot of times you would like shoot at them first if you have cows and you're worried about it. I'm wondering why he didn't start with that. Also, how big is this thing? Did it like just bite the calf and take off? Or is it like a big burly wolf man, reaches down, picks him up, and runs away? I don't know. I'm trying to imagine this in my mind.
Yeah, so according to Terry here, Terry Sherman said that the wolf seemingly just picked up the calf with its jaws,
Oh, okay.
but it picked it up as if it was nothing.
That's a
And
big wolf.
calves are
No,
still
you're pretty good
heavy animals,
size. Like, they're not easy to pick up, just bare arm. They're still pretty good size.
Yeah, it's impressive. And according to Terry, this wolf was not a normal wolf. It was almost what he described to be like a dire wolf. Because dire wolves lived, or honestly, just already extinct by now. And so he was just amazed of the sheer strength and size of this wolf. And it really did scare him. He didn't understand why this wolf was not scared of human interactions when most wolves actually avoid humans. And there have been little known attacks by wolves on humans throughout human
Mm-hmm.
history even. So
And
it's
coyotes would be
very
the
odd and
same.
weird that a wolf would like want to get close to a human,
Yeah, that's
and it makes me
weird.
wonder.
Spooky.
And if this is a skinwalker, it would make a lot of sense just because of that simple interaction of being close to humans, because a skinwalker obviously is part human, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it knows humans and how they behave and everything. So um, it would make sense. It's really creepy. And by that point, I probably would have left.
No, I like I don't understand how people like when I be watching something like BuzzFeed Unsolved, and they'll be at somebody's house and they're like, "We've lived here for 5 years, and ever since the first week, we've been having these occurrences." Like I if so as soon as like the first major one happened, I'm out of there. I'm not staying there.
Literally.
I don't. I mean, I get that like it's hard. You can't really just move if you buy a house or something,
Mhm.
but I'd be doing my best.
I definitely would. But another encounter that Terry specifically had with Skinwalker Ranch was sadly one that involved his dogs. So one night he was outside on his ranch working with his dogs, and out of nowhere he saw this blue glowing light within the trees on his ranch. This light seemed to get bigger and bigger and closer and closer. His dogs immediately were alert and started barking at this glowing orb. That's when this orb started moving around and then darted back into the woods. His dogs followed suit, and then Terry heard the curdling screams of his dogs. He quickly ran to where he last heard his dogs. His dogs were nowhere to be found, but what he did find was this goop in the dirt. He got closer, and the smell of rotten flesh reeked. He was sad to not find his dogs that day, and that blue glowing orb had also disappeared. So this part is honestly sad for all those dog lovers out there, those pet lovers. This is a very sad
Listen,
part
listen.
in
When
this
you
legend.
this thing has crossed the line, okay?
It really has
Like
multiple lines.
like you can fuck with people, but like when you bring a dog in here, come on, man,
Yeah,
not
very
cool.
sad. And you hate to see it. Um, Seemed like his dogs were just, being dogs and maybe even trying to protect their owners, Terry and Gwen. But it was just so bizarre to Terry. Out of nowhere, his dogs were just gone and turned to this black goop.
Did they test it at all? Did they see what it is?
Nope. I believe, according to Terry, they kind of just left it there and, you know, just moved on. Um, but he definitely was obviously freaked out about the whole situation and sad because he did lose his dogs. Um, After that, he never saw that blue orb again. And it's sad. And I think this is when it really did cross the line for Terry and Gwen. And in that same year, 1996, they decided to sell their ranch to a man named Robert Bigelow. And so Bigelow knew of these strange occurrences on the ranch, and he's actually the founder of NIDSI, which is an organization that investigates paranormal and UFO activities, supposedly trying to use scientific research and practices in order to find evidence of such things. But he ended up purchasing it for $200,000. And this was because he was just convinced by the stories of mutilations and tales of strange lights and unusual occurrences that happened in the ranch. So Terry and Gwen were definitely fed up with this place, and they actually originally purchased it in 1994. So, like I did mention before, They did not last very long, uh, just like some of the previous owners. But yeah, that is a story of Skinwalker Ranch. And yeah, it's completely insane to think that all of this happened at the ranch. There have been many visitors before the purchase by Robert Bigelow who would try to find something paranormal or have strange occurrences or encounters, but it is now blocked off to the public, and no one really knows what kind of research goes on the ranch.
It's interesting that it's now blocked off because like that
Yeah.
could mean that they did find something. It seems like that's such an interesting like I don't know. There's so many things that feels like it's going on there that like it could be a UFO, it could be a paranormal thing, it could be a skinwalkers, it could be all of
Mhm.
them. We don't really know. And I was looking at the Wikipedia page, and apparently that there was close to 100 incidents that included vanishing and mutilated cattle, unidentified flying objects or orbs, and large animals with piercing red
Mm.
eyes that were
Mhm.
unscathed and struck by bullets and stuff. Like you were talking about. 100 incidents? I'd
Yes.
be done after
There
five.
were definitely many incidents that occurred there. And something to also note, when Terry and Gwen Sherman first purchased the ranch in 1994, they noticed that many doors and windows of their house were blocked off or barricaded, wood and nails. And so they were very weirded out by that. They were like, why did people nail these wooden boards to like the windows, and even certain cabinets of the house were also blocked off.
And that was like that when they moved in there, it was like that.
Yes, so there are already many doors and entrances that were blocked off when they first purchased the ranch. And they did purchase it for relatively cheap, and I think that's what really persuaded them to stay and originally buy the ranch. But soon after they were really introduced to all these stories of strange occurrences around the area and in the ranch, as well as the legend of the Skinwalker. Skeptics believe that they just use that to make up the stories on the ranch,
Mm-hmm.
but there just have been so many incidents throughout the years, and there have just been an incidents, so many incidents and stories surrounding the area, um, that kind of make you wonder, is this real? I don't know. It's just very crazy, and I think a lot of times it just makes you more open to not just things like this, but just like things that happen in your day-to-day life, many times you think to yourself, like you think about something that you've experienced, and you're like, did that actually happen or not? And then a lot of times people just like brush themselves off, and they're like, ah, that's just my mind's playing tricks on me or whatever. But sometimes there are things that are just unexplainable, and you really do gotta think about those things.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of a lot of these things we'll never know for sure. Like, do you believe that this all happened?
Do I believe? Man, I'm a kind of person that it's just like it's kind of hard because right now it doesn't seem like there's hard proof of anything.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Like, I wish there was some like just hard proof. Like, I wish they would have tested the goo if there was any goo,
Yeah.
or maybe like I don't know. I feel like if you are going to try, like if something, but I don't know because I wonder if things like this know if you're filming them. Like because they were talking. I was just looking over this Wikipedia page, right? And a lot of the criticisms were that after Bigelow bought it, that they would spent years studying it and nothing crazy ever happened. And I wonder if it's because the fact like that they're studying it, they're like, oh yeah, no, we're not doing that. I don't know, like, or if it was made up, we don't really know.
It's definitely hard to really know, and it's like my philosophy. is I mean, I don't wanna be, like, gullible and believe everything that comes out of anyone's mouth, but also, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt and, you know, who am I to judge someone's personal experiences?
Yeah.
Um, but then at the same time, it's like anyone can make up any story, you know? And that's what makes it hard. It's like part of me does believe that this stuff happened and that the Shermans are telling the truth. But at the same time, it's like who who's to say they didn't make that up, you know?
Yeah, cuz like I don't know really what motive they would have to make it up, whether maybe it was trying to get these, them someone to buy it for a lot of money. Then I could kind of see like that kind of making sense, but I don't know. I still feel like you would need hard proof to really sell that, not just, oh yeah, some weird stuff happened. I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like the missing cattle and the dogs and stuff, I think is probably the more believable stuff, especially if there was like a record of them going missing or something. Also, I just wish there was more information on how that all went down. And I'm sure that there is like some form of like documentary or something on it, but I don't really know.
No, yeah, there definitely are a lot of uh movies and TV shows and episodes on Skinwalker and Skinwalker Ranch.
Uh huh.
Um, there are many, and like a lot of times, a lot of these shows or episodes or movies, they're not that credible. Like
Yeah.
I know they've made appearances in like Ancient Aliens from History Channel and um, just like different shows. I know I know there was a an episode from an old TV show from Animal Planet or Discovery Channel called Lost Tapes. I don't know if
Yeah,
you're familiar
I've
with it.
seen I'm seeing that on here right now. Yeah.
So that came out in the year 2009, I believe, but it was an episode about an encounter with a skinwalker. And obviously, as much as my younger self would have believed that all of those episodes were actually real, looking at them now, it's like, yeah, this is just something to laugh, and have fun with. Um, they're just so bad. But the most recent thing I did watch was something called The Secret of the Skinwalker. It's a like documentary TV show kind of thing, like movie, but they were like trying to use certain technology to prove that the property is has some paranormal aspects to it, and stuff like that. But they didn't really in these I guess in these episodes they didn't really prove anything. Just like in any other kinda, like, paranormal history channel.
It's like, have you ever watched Finding Bigfoot?
I think I did one time.
Is that what it's
I
called?
think so.
I remember I would watch that every day when I got home from school. And we'll talk about it more if we do a
Yeah,
Bigfoot
for sure.
episode. But I always remember watching it and they'd be like, I got that. I heard it. That's a squatch. And I'd be like, oh my God, it
You have
is.
all, like, these Duck Dynasty characters, I swear.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Did you ever watch Monster Quest?
I have seen. Is that the one with like the guys with the beards that just go to try to kill everything, and they like run around the woods shooting shotguns and stuff? I haven't watched it, but I've seen like people talk about it,
It's so funny.
like on
I
other
used to watch that when I was
shows.
younger too, and and, like, looking back, they're so goofy. They'd make so many episodes on, like, finding Bigfoot or, like, Chupacabra or, Skinwalker, all these other, like, I guess, mythical creatures or, like, urban legend creatures, but, um, I guess they call them cryptids, but, a lot of those kinda shows just, like, they're so goofy and they don't really provide any scientific evidence or research. It kinda honestly, it just makes the whole search for something like that, seem so silly and just dumb. When in reality, I'm sure, like, many people have had experiences that they feel are real and, like, they know what they saw kind of thing. and it just kinda discredits them, it just kinda makes them look like lunatics or crazy people. But like I said, I don't know.
The thing that becomes difficult with cryptids and skinwalkers and all these stuff is that like someone might see something, but then like let's say like because if something gets popular, like this story for instance, then people would be like, "Oh yeah, I've seen one
Yeah,
too." And then it kind of becomes iffy on what's true or what's
yeah.
not. One thing I like to do, I love to watch videos of like sightings on stuff and then see like how like if it's fake or not. I feel like that is a little bit
Mhm.
more. I don't like. There's a little bit more to that. Like that video I sent you. I don't. I want to know if that's real or fake or what was going on in that. Did you see
Yeah,
that
I
video I
did
sent you
too.
of the
Yeah,
trees
that
moving?
TikTok you sent me with the trees walking.
Like what
The
is
comments on
that?
there were
Like
so funny though. One of them was like, "Everybody gains the so the trees start walking." I'm like, "You got me
yeah,
dead with that." I don't know. I had a friend too, Courtney. If you're listening out there, shout out to Courtney K. But
yeah,
she also sent me a TikTok. It was a Reddit board. It was a subreddit on just paranormal things, and it was one of those like narrations of uh, I guess Reddit stories. And this story was
uh
about a
huh,
supposed encounter about a skinwalker and how this guy he was camping in the Appalachian Mountains and he stayed in this cabin, but he noticed that there was like a coyote that kept like circling his cabin and he thought it was kind of like cute or whatever, but he noticed that like the coyote started acting really weird and was like looking at him through the window, and that one night it just started like yelling and it was like it just had a blood curdling scream and it was something very scary for him. So he ended up uh like going into his closet and he hid in there, and that's when he just heard the cabin door open. And I guess this creature
oh
walked in.
fuck
Yeah, it
that.
was bad, but I guess the creature walked in up to the closet door and was like breathing really hard, like put its face against the door and started breathing like super hard. And so what the person did was they just like covered themselves with their jacket in the back of the corner of the closet. And I guess he was there for hours until he noticed that the sunlight was coming back in. And so he decided to go outside into his room and the creature was gone. But that was a story from that Redditor, which again, it's like, who's to say they didn't make that up? But also, it's like people have like strange experiences. So I don't know.
No, that's a, oh that was
Yeah,
creepy. I didn't
there's a
like
mini
that.
story for you. Shout out
What?
to Courtney K.
Why was he alone?
Hon-
I would
I don't
not
know.
be
I
alone.
I know that's like rule 101 of like camping. Never go camping alone.
No, like,
Yeah, it's
oh,
just crazy. I'm like, dang, that man has some balls. And I don't know. It's stories like that that really make me want to believe that.
and it makes it so hard because it's like he's by himself. He could make up anything that
Yeah,
happened, but at the same time, some of the elements of stories like that feel so true,
yeah, for real,
and and especially when it's just like I don't know. I feel like there's definitely some weird things in the world for
for
sure,
sure.
and and it makes sense that you wouldn't really experience them as much when you're with multiple people at a time because like a lot of times they're trying to single people out or something. So it makes sense. But then it also sucks because it's so hard to prove, and then because you can't prove it, especially in today's day and age, you can't. No, it's not. It's really hard to believe. So it's just like, and I think that's one thing that makes it fun is you don't know, but there's still possible, and it's fun to look at the evidence.
Yeah, it's always fun to look into that kind of stuff, and I think and for me personally, it just makes me more of an open-minded person when it comes to paranormal stuff. And
Yeah,
I don't know, it's something that has made me want to go out and investigate things on my own as well. and like personally go out there and try to look for evidence of things like that. And one of the things that I've been really interested in is obviously not by myself, but I'd love to go camping sometime and these kind of places and try to find or experience something, you know. Obviously with trying to be as cautious and careful as possible, but at the same time wanting to seeing these things, you know, I'm like, "Whoa, is this real?" You know, and one of those things that really influenced me about that is we'll probably talk about it in a future episode, but the whole missing 411 cases. So it's this phenomenon um and the expert on this is David Politis. He's a uh, retired, I guess, like police investigator or something like that. But he went from investigating um, missing persons in the cities and like urban areas to really trying to find uh, and investigate cases on missing people or persons in national parks and forests. And so something that he's noticed with all his research and investigation is that there are certain hotspots where people go missing in these national forests and parks in the United States. And a lot of times, these hotspots are also prone to having sightings of UFOs, Bigfoot, and other paranormal things. And so a lot of times I'm like, I want to go out camping in those places, you know, just to see what happens, you know, and a lot of places like this is like they're like Yosemite National Park, um, like Yellowstone, like all these other places, especially like national parks and forests in like California. I think some of the hotspots are actually in northern Arkansas, where we have a lot of forests and national parks. Um, yeah, it really is, and like it got me really scared because all these stories and missing persons cases that I hear about um, really make me wonder, you know, like what is out there? You know, is it off-grid serial killers? Is it Bigfoot? Is it aliens? What's going on? You know,
Okay, I'm gonna tell. Okay, I have a personal story to tell that is probably one of the creepiest moments in my entire life. Okay,
really,
and it involves being stuck in the woods. Okay, one time, so me and my girlfriend, we went inside. Have you ever been to Busick over by Branson?
I have not.
It's like a, it's just this. There's like a giant trail. Me and her decided we were gonna go on a walk. Right, we're like, let's do the 4 mile trail or whatever, the really long one. And we start doing it, and then like all it just starts to get really dark. We're like, ah, crap. We forgot that it gets dark early, and we're like halfway through this, so we gotta like rush through it. So we're running through this trail by ourselves, middle like it's pitch black outside, and like it's just like there'd be times where you just feel like you're being watched, and you'd hear something move, and you're trying to like be like, oh no, it's just like an armadillo or something. And like I swear, like you get this, I got this super overwhelming feeling, and then I heard like this really loud rustling, and then I like, so we just kind of start walking really fast. Our phone batteries are about to die, and we look back where we're at, and there's a freaking cemetery right next to us. And then we like, I don't think we've ever moved so fast in our entire lives. Got back to our car. I have a feeling there's something weird there. I don't
Dang.
know if it's just me, but it's just like right by that cemetery was just the weirdest feeling I've ever felt. Not only was I horrified already that it was dark outside in the middle of the woods,
Mm,
and like she wouldn't quit talking about serial killers too. That didn't help.
that's
But
that's
yeah,
insane.
there's
Yeah, I feel like a lot of places like that, like cemeteries and like places where, for example, many places where tragedies have happened, um, really do house this like negative energy. A lot of times, it's sad energy of like trapped people, you know, and trapped souls. I believe that that's the case a lot of times with those kind of places, and it kind of like manifests itself into our world and our world experiences and how we perceive the world. And so I definitely believe you that there was something weird happening there when you guys went. That's scary for real. And I honestly, that's so scary, but at the same time, it just appeals to me so much that I just want to
I
have something
Okay.
like
How
that.
about this? If this takes off, all right, everybody who's gonna be like that is listening now, and you're gonna follow us on this journey of this podcast, we'll start small, but we should start doing investigations and like videoing it for the YouTube part. I think that'd be a lot of fun because there's a few places around here, not necessarily um like because we could go to like a few paranormal places too. Go overnight because we could get like a small crew and do it. Oh, that'd be fun. We should do it.
That would be fun. What was the place we were talking about near Joplin, Missouri, with the spook lights?
Um, oh yeah, there's the Spook
Yeah.
Light that's close to here. There's Pythian Castle that's like not very far at all. Um, there's yeah, we're not that far from Arkansas
Mhm.
really. So there's a lot of options we can
Definitely go
do.
camping sometime there.
Yeah, I've only gone camping a few times in my life, but I would do it.
Yeah, for sure. I've only been one time camping, and it was also in Arkansas. It was with me and a buddy for my senior. That was my senior trip, and so we went to this place called Ozone, Arkansas, which is a very small. I don't even necessarily would consider it a town, but it's basically inside of the one of the national forests that they have there. And I mean, we only stayed a couple days, probably like honestly, probably a solid 3.5 to 4 days of camping. I didn't really necessarily encounter anything weird, and I'm pretty sure this is one of the places that David Politis that I mentioned earlier said is a hot spot for missing persons. And I didn't know
Oh
about it at the
no.
time, I think I was 18 when I went, but like recently is when last year or so is when I started getting into these missing person cases in national parks. But apparently, this is one of the places where people have gone missing around this area, and so it really got me to think about my experience there. And I was like, honestly, I had a good experience. I don't know. I did see a black bear. Fun. I'm glad it didn't attack us or anything. He was a couple meters away.
Luckily, like black bears aren't as
Yeah,
aggressive. So, but then no bear is
it
like going to
wasn't that
visit them.
hungry, so we were lucky that day. But other than that, we didn't really see anything crazy or too crazy or hear anything. I did struggle to sleep a lot, obviously, because it was my first time camping. Um,
Hmm.
but I mean, during the night that I was awake, I didn't really hear much. I did hear some noises outside of my tent, and I think it was probably a small animal. It sounded like a raccoon or maybe even a coyote. But
Comes in your tent, curls up, goes to
literally,
sleep.
he's like, "Nice place."
It's just a skinwalker trying to find
The
warmth.
Skinwalker's like,
You
"Nice
know,
place, bro."
like a lot of those missing persons cases, especially in the woods, like it kind of ties back into the whole skinwalker
It
thing.
does.
And the weird thing is, like, I think the skinwalker thing makes sense with those because they're never found.
Uh,
So it's like if they are attacked, turned into one.
you gotta wonder, it's like if all of these things happened on Skinwalker Ranch, are they all connected? Like, are UFOs, connected to those light orbs, or are they also connected to Skinwalker? Something I didn't mention earlier is apparently there were also sightings of Bigfoot-like creatures on the ranch and around the ranch. Um, I mean, easily could have also been a Skinwalker, but it seems like it was just a Bigfoot, is what they were saying. So you gotta wonder, are all these things connected? Are they all some sort of like
Theory. I have a theory. What if Bigfoot is a skinwalker's true form? And the reason that they like are seen and then gone and never seen is because they can like transform into any animal. So you're not looking for a little squirrel. You're looking for a
that's
Bigfoot.
true.
So when like Bigfoot's just there and gone,
That's true. That's a
Mm.
good theory. That's a good
Ooh.
theory. I like it.
Ooh.
I like it. Oh, that. And then there's also a theory out there that says, um, that Bigfoot are actually just, uh, kind of like an experiment from aliens. I don't know if they're like multi-dimensional aliens or whatever, but they kind of transport Bigfoot through multiple dimensions to get to our dimension. And they just kind of plop them out onto the into the forest, see what people do with them or like how they react.
Turns out like Bigfoot is just a human they've abducted, and they used the wrong probe on him, and they're like, "Ah, god damn it, we don't know."
It's a failed experiment.
They just throw,
They just dump it back on Earth. They're like,
like
"What? Here you
they're
go."
like, "Oh, Jerry, yeah, give me the 3 meter." Oh no,
Whoops. Literally. You
No,
never know.
we'll get into big. We gotta do a Bigfoot episode because that's like I love Bigfoot lore and
Bigfoot is
stories.
just such
So,
an amazing story.
all right, you got anything else you want to add about Skinwalkers? I feel like I've learned a
Think you
lot.
did?
I had no idea about this, and I'm honestly kind of creeped out. I keep looking behind
Yeah.
me, so if it sounds like when I'm talking, because I'm like, I'm worried I'm gonna be looking back and something's gonna be there. Even though the rest of the entire past like year I haven't been worrying about that, but now it's gonna
You see
happen.
your cat
Now that I
moving
know.
weirdly, in a weird way, and you're just like,
Every time she stares at
she's
me weird, it's like,
shape-shifting. Like after hearing all like the story of Skinwalker and everything, sometimes my cat will like start stretching weird. Or like one time she literally stood up on her two uh I guess back feet or paws. And she was just standing upright and I'm like, we got a Skinwalker in my house. No. It's I'm glad you liked the story and I'm glad you learned a lot about Skinwalker and Skinwalker Ranch. It's definitely one of those stories that gets you questioning a lot of things and it kind of opens you up to the world of paranormal and the unexplained.
it sucks that it's closed off to the public because that's something that'd be cool to go
Yeah.
see.
Oh yeah, a lot of people were before it closed off at the time. A lot of people were trying to get in and like trying to get video footage and all that and have their own experiences, but I mean, you got to wonder why did they close it off, you know? Was it potentially too
Yeah,
dangerous for people, to just go out there?
everyone, forget storming Area 51. Let's
Storm?
go storm
Literally,
Skinwalker
we were
Ranch.
storming the wrong place.
Turns out Area 51 is just a cover up. Really, everything's going down at Skinwalker
Literally.
Ranch. All right, everybody. Thank you all for listening to the first episode of It Goes Bump in the Night. So, I don't really know what our next episode is going to be about. I think I'm going to be the one who's going to host that one. So I'll try to find something super exciting. I've considered Bigfoot, but I might hold that one off a little longer. So we'll find something. Um, but yeah, anything else you have to add?
I just have to reiterate and say that this story was it was a really creepy one and I don't know, it just gets you wondering a lot about what's really out there. What are the things that, we really haven't known about or really just haven't discovered fully yet. So
Mm.
it's very interesting and I hope one day we find out the absolute truth of what really happened in Skinwalker Ranch.
And you know what? We're going to do that on this podcast. No, we're not. But that'd
That'd
be cool
be
if we did, if
hella
we
cool,
uncovered
yeah.
some stuff. But all right. Thank you all I almost said watching. Thank you all for listening. And we'll see you all in the next
Thank
episode.
you guys. Bye
Bye.
bye.